It's your man, Chris Godrock.
What's up, my family? It's Maliki and Sweet Senorita.
It's your boy, Dirty Girl. This is All Mills from the Critics. I just finished my interview at C.O.O.L Radio, and I'm just letting you guys know that you guys need to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. because this place is wild.
Of course! Don't touch that dial.
You miss your diss, you understand? Relax.
Call somebody indeed. If they don't know that we're on the air right now, you better call someone to call someone, tell a friend to tell a friend. You already know what it is, man. It's been a good week. Today, the World Cup started. Everyone's pulling out their flags as usual. First game on today's deck was Brazil versus Croatia. Brazil handled their business, of course. And, you know, a lot of people are cheering for Brazil because they're the home country this time around. And Brazil is usually the popular country that people root for, which I'm not really particularly mad at because I've also enjoyed Brazil in multiple occasions in the World Cup. But nonetheless, good for them, good for them. But a cool radio broadcast would not be a cool radio broadcast without the opening segment, which I like to call Let That Ish Breathe.
Let this bitch breathe!
Yes, most definitely gotta let that ish breathe, man. Pardon me. And we're gonna do it in a major way, actually. Now, I got this picture from a good friend, homie to the show, co-host Jay Kareem, and he posted a picture of two people. So it's a split picture. So one picture on the left happens to be a graduate, a college graduate. It does not say her name on the picture, actually, but nonetheless, she's a college graduate and she's celebrating her graduation with all of her peers and what have you, and everything looks normal until you notice closely that she is actually breastfeeding her child during the graduation ceremony, where she's amongst all of her peers in their caps and gowns, and she fully has her bosom out, you know, nursing her child. Now, obviously, I'm not opposed to breastfeeding. If the kid is hungry, the kid is hungry, but you know, a lot should be said about it. Now, before I give my opinion on it, I'm gonna let you guys know what the captions around it are saying. So on the top, it says society. On the left side, it shows a woman breastfeeding her child, and it also says woman breastfeeding at her college graduation. Ratchet, ghetto, tasteless, inappropriate, should have covered up, nasty, attention-seeking, stupid. All right. Now, on the right side is a picture of Rihanna in her fishnet dress that she won some bootleg award for at the CFDA fashion show, which I've never heard of before in my life. Anyways, it shows a picture of it, and on her side of the caption, it says, "Celebrity shows breast in fishnet dress at awards. She's expressing herself, sexy, bold, gorgeous, beautiful, elegant, yes, stylish, different, creative." So basically, this picture is trying to pinpoint the double standard within society. You know, if a regular person does something outlandish, then we call them ratchet. But if a celebrity does something to that extent, maybe even more so, then we give it, you know, a name that's more flattering. We call it chic. We call it innovative, something up to that extent, which is true. A lot of people do that. They'll see a celebrity do something that Kiki from around the way did something of similar magnitude, and they'll say the exact opposite because it's that person who commands that much star power. I mean, you see it in the NBA sometimes with the way a lot of these players dress. You get, you know, a guy like Dwayne Wade who rolls up his pants, making them look like capris. And because it's Dwayne Wade, we give him a pass. But when we see any other guy do that, we might call him gay. And I totally understand the double standard behind it. Now, here's my take on this picture in particular. When I see this picture right here, the split screen and everything, neither one is decent at all, in my opinion. Because, you know, I already sounded off on Rihanna last week, gave her the Wanksta of the week for that outfit. You already know how I feel about Rihanna. As far as this girl goes, the graduate, she pretty much just ruined the whole entire moment by breastfeeding her child out in public like that. Like, again, like I said before, if the child is hungry, okay, there's nothing you can do about it. There's only one thing to do. But in that situation, you could cover up. Like, cover up your chest area so that none of that is being exposed, because at the end of the day, nobody cares at the fact that you're graduating college or university or whatever post-secondary institution that you're at. We're all fixated on the fact that you have your titty out, you know, giving your child some milk. That's what we're focused on, and that takes away from your big grand moment. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, women in particular, who probably said that she stood up for what she believed in. She's making a statement, and if she's making a statement, then to each his own. But I think she is, giving the wrong kind of statement, in my opinion. That's just me. Because at the end of the day, if you're a woman and you're breastfeeding, like, you don't want to, I would assume at the very least that you don't want to expose, your private areas or whatnot, despite the fact that you are nursing a child. Like, they do have cloths, they do have shawls, things of that nature for you to cover up while you're having that intimate moment between yourself and your child. I just don't think that the stage that she did it at was the appropriate one, because now you're taking attention away from your huge moment. And not to mention, they'll probably say that, oh, she's just another baby mama hood rat or something like that. Like they said it under the caption, because she has a kid and she's not married, and because she's black as well too. But again, my point still stands. If you're nursing a child, fine, but you got to cover up. You got to put like a shawl around that. And again, the pictures are the same. They're the same to me. It makes no difference. They're both indecent. One being more indecent than the other, and you guys have a pretty good idea of which one I think is more indecent than the other. Cough, cough, Rihanna. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, we got to get to our first commercial break of the night. Keep it locked. We still got a lot more. We got a particular artist I want to play later on in the show. This man is coming all the way from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, people. I got those connections, I'm telling you. But before we do that, we got to play some more Canadian content, because I know y'all love some CanCon in your system. This one comes by way of my main man, Ness, and he just dropped his EP, Hieroglyphics. This one is called Highness. Some braggadocious stuff for your ass. And we'll be right back after these messages. This is C.O.O.L Radio. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. And now tuned into C.O.O.L Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. You already know how we do. Now, it's time to get into the chop block discussion of the hour, okay? Now, I know a lot of you guys saw this video last week, but it's still carrying on to this week, and I feel like it's best to discuss it right now. Last week, we would have covered it, but we were doing our little NBA final special. Speaking of which, go Spurs, go. But we're going to get into this right now, man. I'm talking about Justin Bieber. Now, Justin Bieber is no stranger to the show. He is one of the alumni of the Wanksta Of-the Hall of Fame. All right, he's a repeat offender. He's a decorated offender, if that. And this, this act that he did was no different. However, we did not give him the Wanksta. Only reason why we did not drop down Wanksta on him was because of the fact that the footage was from years ago. This is before, this is actually during the time of when he first blew up. So when he was like 15, rocking the mop cut and everything, looking like an emo skater and what have you. Anyways, I'm talking about the video that was surfaced last week of him using the N-word very gratuitously, if I may add, even using it in a jingle. He was basically singing his song One Less Lonely Girl, but replacing the word girl with the word nigger. So instead of one less lonely girl, he was saying one less lonely nigger. Not even saying it, he was singing it. Now, I didn't even know he was parodying his own hit. I thought that was like some slave song that he came about in Stratford or something like that. And he continued to make more and more black jokes within the video. Now, my thing is this. Bieber was young. He was 15. Do I blame him for using the N-word? I mean, of course, because he's saying it, but should all the blame be on him? I think that was an example of, someone being miseducated or not even educated at all, because a lot of people who are outside of the black community don't know the historical context of the word nigger. And I'm saying the word nigger because it has to be said in this context right now, because I'm trying to educate you guys on the matter of this. Now, I'm sure a lot of people already know how it came to be, but there are people out there who don't know how it came to be. So basically, I'm going to give you like a little crash course history in this. The word nigger was used to enslave black people during the transatlantic slave trade era. And basically that word was beaten into black people in particular, to enslave them physically and mentally. That was the whole purpose of the word. It was the word that the European colonizers used to define black people. They also had racial slurs for other people of other ethnic backgrounds as well too. But nigger in particular was used for black people, and it was used to enslave them. And the word has residual effects, meaning that it has withstood the test of time. Now, fast forward into the 1980s when hip hop is in its early stages. rappers took it upon themselves rather to reinvent the word and recreate the word and have it mean something else as well. So instead of using the term nigger, the term nigga was spawned. And basically the term nigga is almost like a term of endearment towards one black man towards another. So for example, you're going to hear, a black guy say to another black guy, "What's up, my nigga? We all good?" Yeah, that's basically what it means. All right. Now, within rap became a very popular genre, after the 80s. From 88 onwards, I would say the genre became very popular. The word nigga was heavily used amongst everyone's favorite rappers. And by the time it got to mainstream, everybody was on it. Nigga was the word that everybody wanted to say. Now, here's the thing. The word nigga is very taboo amongst people who aren't black. And the argument is always followed up by asking, if you are not black, are you allowed to use the word? Now, me personally, I would prefer not to hear anyone who isn't black use the word. I would prefer that. But at the end of the day, I'm not the FCC. I'm not CRTC. I can't, refrain you from using that word. I will not have anyone call me a nigga who isn't black, and that may seem like a double standard, but at the end of the day, the historical context still stands. Like I would be damned if I had a white man call me nigga. Like, "Hey, what's up, my nigga?" I'm not gonna have that. That's stupid. Like, what is this? Are you Jim Crow? No, like, I'm not having that happen at all, too. And I feel like a lot of people are miseducated on the use of that word. For example, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of white people in particular, and I'm only saying white people mainly because the argument arises among white people for the most part, because other races of other cultures have their own racial slur that they may call themselves by because they're influenced by the gratuitous use of the term nigga. All right, so they kind of stay away from nigga for the most part. But I do hear people of other ethnic backgrounds say nigga who aren't white. Anyways, back to this story, actually. As far as white people, and mind you, I'm not saying that every white person is a descendant of the white people who were enslaving black people in terms of their mentalities and their personalities. I'm not saying that at all. So let's kill that noise right there and then, in case if you're thinking about that. But for the most part, what I'm saying is this: when it comes to white people and their fascination for the word, it almost boggles my mind in a sense because of the fact that they find it so endearing, and they find it as though they've received a rite of passage from black people if a black person calls them their nigga or something to that extent. They will be not up in arms. They'll be flailing their arms in joy if that does happen at one point or another. And to me, it makes no sense, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna say it's just a word, but it shouldn't be a word that you should be thirsting to say. It really shouldn't be that case. And one thing that I kind of get upset with is when, from time to time, I'll hear a white person ask, "How come you guys get to say the word? That's not fair. We should be able to say the word too." Now, I understand that this derives from a term known as white privilege. And white privilege was derived from, again, early European settlers who were able to either take what they wanted or to just be granted what they wanted. That's always been the European way, which has resulted in colonization, which has resulted in slavery, things of that nature. Right? And that in itself, white privilege, is a residual long-term effect as well too. And that has been implanted subconsciously in the minds of a lot of Caucasian people. Mind you, I'm not being racist. This is just general facts. You may realize it or not, but this is how it works sometimes. Now, because of that, and again, these people may not realize it because, again, it's subconscious, their white privilege, quote unquote, is kicking in when it comes to the use of the word nigga and their yearning for the use of that word, basically. That's what's going on in their mind, that they want to use it, but they're not being allowed to, and they find it, ridiculous that they're not allowed to because they've been allowed to say whatever they want, and this is the one word that's off limits. I've even had a few white people come up to me and say, "Oh, well, I find it offensive when people say the word honky or cracker. It offends me." Let's get one thing straight. Honky and cracker are two of the most silliest terms I've ever heard in my life. What the hell is a honky and what the hell is a cracker? Now, the word cracker comes from the term of cracking the whip. when the white slave owner used to with the black slaves. That's basically what cracker means. But even then, that has power in it as well too. You're not being denigrated by being called cracker and honky. I don't even know where that comes from. I heard Richard Pryor say it in a comedy bit one time, and that was it. But here's the difference between honky and cracker. White people were not being lynched white people were not being lynched and having the word cracker being thrown at them at the same time. They're not being attacked by dogs and having the word cracker thrown at them at the same time. They're not being hosed down with fire hydrants at the same time being called a honky. They weren't being raped, mutilated, or anything of that nature while being called honky or cracker. The word nigger was used to enslave black people physically and mentally, and that's what happened. No one enslaved white people and called them crackers or honkies at all during one point in time. Never. That never happened. So that is why terms like honky and cracker have no merit. They have no weight. They can't even compare. It's incomparable. This is like pitting a midget against LeBron James in a slam dunk contest. Like, there's no match for the midget. And the midget being metaphorically honky and crackers. So whenever I hear a white person say that, or I've heard a white person say that back in the day, it used to anger me because at the end of the day, there's no merit for it at all whatsoever. It's just them being silly. It's them being facetious. Just them wanting to have an excuse to say the word. And another thing too, there's always this thing where a lot of white people say, well, if you don't want us saying it, then you should be saying it in front of us. Now, here's the thing with that one. That one is a double-edged sword. I agree and disagree at the same time. I disagree because at the end of the day, as a grown individual, I'm assuming that you are, you shouldn't have to have an urge to say a word just because someone else did it. You, as an adult, have your own mind. You are your own sentient being. You should make a judgment call for what you want to say, what you don't want to say, and you shouldn't have anyone influence you on that at all whatsoever. However, on the flip side, I can't get mad at them for saying a statement like that as well, too, because at the end of the day, you hear it so much in rap songs in particular, and if you hear the word nigga used like 50 times in a song that's within the top 40 game radio spin, well, actually, you know what? Let me take that back, because even in that case, the radio would be bleeping out the word in the first place anyway. But I'm just saying, if it's a top 40 hit and you're listening to it online, for example, then, or you have the album or whatever the case may be, and they say nigga, 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 and they listen to it 24/7, then they may feel inclined to say it. I'm not saying it's right, but if it's been infused in your mind for so long, I can't necessarily get mad per se. I mean, for example, you have Jay-Z and Kanye West put out arguably the biggest hit in 2011 with a song called Niggas in Paris. And every tour stop that they're on, pardon me, they play that song at nauseum. They perform that song at nauseum about 6 or 7 straight times at the end of their concert. So I can't even get mad at the fact that some white kids have the urge to scream out nigga when Jay-Z and Kanye West, two of the biggest rappers in the history of hip-hop and two of the biggest entertainers in the world all together, are using that for a song title. And it just happens to be number one on the top 40 charts. So there's a conundrum when it comes to the word nigga and who can use it and who can't use it. And will it ever go away? It's never going to go away. It's been around for this long. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, and that's just the bottom line. Going back to Bieber and all kids like him, they need to be properly educated on this so that they learn what not to say in front of certain people, because certain people may not be well temperamented and they may take it the wrong way. And before you know it, I mean, knock on wood, but you might end up in the ER or something like that. So that's all I'm saying. Anyways, we got to get to a commercial break, and we got Trip Talk coming up right after this. But before we do that, man, I got to get to my homeboy who's from across the border in the United States of America. This is the thing I love about Twitter. You can connect to so many people on so many different, platforms all across the world, and Twitter just happens to be one of them. And I got hit up by my homegirl, Schoolgirl K, about this young artist who goes by the name of A-Dog, a.k.a. Anaconda, who is pretty much killing it in Milwaukee right now. First of all, I didn't even know there were black people in Milwaukee. The only black people I thought were in Milwaukee were the Bucks. That's all I'm saying. But I'm glad to know that we still have a few of them in Milwaukee nonetheless. But this guy, I heard his track this past week. Mad talented. I hope this guy blows up. And I'm going to do what I can in order to make that happen. So with that being said, he goes by the name of A-Dog, a.k.a. Anacon, and this track features his compadre, Fred Nice, and it's called I Keep Staring, off of his upcoming project, The Coming. So keep it locked. We'll be right back after these messages. This is C.O.O.L Radio. Cool! Welcome back to the show. You're now tuned into CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. You're now tuned into C.O.O.L Radio. Now, we have to give some love to our man, A-Dog, a.k.a. Anacon, who is repping Milwaukee, Wisconsin, man. We have to show him some love real quick because, you know, he's a supporter of the show. We have to play his joy for him. So shouts to him and best of luck to him. And A-Dog, if you're listening right now, man, more tracks, send them on. That one was fire right there, most definitely. You got my cosign, most definitely. Now, it's time to move on with the rest of the programming. We like to call this segment Trip Talk. And you know what that means? That's 3 topics in 3 minutes. And we got some pretty interesting ones to get to say the least. So with that being said, let's get to it, shall we? So the worlds of professional basketball and hip-hop, they often collide, man. Like, a lot of these people come from the same neighborhoods and all that good stuff, man. And these two people are no strangers to each other, actually. I'm talking about Oklahoma City forward Kevin Durant and rapper Game. Now, these guys allegedly had a bet of some sort while playing NBA 2K. Now, there was a lot of miscommunication, but it appeared that basically, if Kevin Durant lost to the game, then he would owe him $20,000. Now, cameras caught up with Kevin Durant during his morning run, TMZ cameras, and the way that the TMZ reporter or camera guy asked the question made everything seem out of context, according to Game. Because Game posted a response under that video afterwards, and it was basically saying how, they bet that if Kevin Durant hit a three-pointer in the video game, then he would donate about a ton of his KD gear to the kids of Game's basketball foundation or some sort. Now, basically, the gear that they're referring to is about $150 a pop, and there's about 130 students or kids in this basketball camp or whatever it is, and basically the cost would equal to around $20,000. So that's where the communication lied, basically. So, you know, TMZ, they like to skew stuff every now and then because they have made themselves known as a gossip column, as a gossip website, and a lot of people go to them for their daily entertainment. But basically, Game and KD are saying that there is no bad blood, there's no bet, no one owes money, and that's good because we don't want another, you know, Gilbert Arena situation on our hands where people are shooting up each other in the locker room and stuff like that. So, good on Game, good on KD for resolving the issue. That's dead and gone. Now let's move on to the other subject that I want to mention. 50 Cent released his highly anticipated comeback album, quote unquote, Animal Ambition. He released it last week, and the first week numbers were in this week, and he debuted number 4 on the charts with 45,000 units sold. Now, this is a far, far cry from the SoundScan killer that we've known 50 Cent be throughout his entire career. I mean, we remember Get Rich or Die Trying. That sold like 820,000 copies the first week alone, almost going platinum in that first week. And then we remember The Massacre, which sold 1 million copies in the first week. So that went platinum. And then Curtis, his third album that he sold in competition with Kanye's album Graduation in 2007, that one sold 660,000 units, which was somewhat of a modest number for 50, if you will. And then, of course, what was the name? Before I Self-Destruct was a meager 187,000 copies sold. You know, that's very small for 50, and this one is no exception, too. Now, albeit, this one was sold completely independently, so he had no machine, he had no backing of Interscope, of Aftermath, of Shady, none of that. He sold this on his own independent imprint. So 45,000 units sold. For an indie album, it's not bad. It's almost what's expected, actually. And seeing how 50 isn't really relevant in the new generation of music anymore, you know, you kind of expect that. I think he's actually fortunate enough to get those numbers. And at the end of the day, from a business standpoint, he's going to get most of that back anyway because it is an indie label. So he's going to get 70% of that return back coming to him anyway. So he is nice. I mean, he still has his vitamin water stocks. He has his headphone stocks. He has all that good stuff. So I'm not worried about 50 as a businessman, as a rapper. Pardon me. I think at this point in time, like if he's doing it for the love of the music, then who am I to say no? Stop making music. As far as expected to see the numbers that he's had in the past, it's not going to happen again. Not anytime soon. And I think that's what 50 needs to come to grips with. If he hasn't, but I'm sure he has. Him being the smart business intellectual that he is, and I'm not mad at the numbers. So go ahead, on an independent label, on selling an album that you have been working on for years, and also putting out an album, your first album in I think 6 years at the very least. Can't get mad at that. Can't get mad. So do your thing, 50. Do your thing, man. And congrats on reuniting with G-Unit as well too. See what numbers or see what music you guys come up with. Might give it a listen or two. Who knows? If you guys give it a listen, if you guys have actually heard the album, rather, Animal Ambition, let me know. I have yet to hear it. I heard a couple of the early singles. I'm not sure if they made their way onto the album, but again, if you've heard the album, let me know. Hit me up at DM_cool or hit up the radio show at cool_radio if you've heard the album. Anyways, final topic, and this one is a doozy right here. This one was so major, pardon me, that I was very tempted to give it Wanksta of the Week, but I didn't because our candidate, or not our candidate, but our, presidential elect, so to speak, for Wanksta of the Week was much bigger than this one. Tichina Arnold, if you guys are not familiar with this woman, she played Chris Rock's mother on Everybody Hates Chris. And, for all you 90s kids out there, she also played Pam on the hit sitcom Martin. All right, for all my 90s sitcom fans out there. Now, she blasted French Montana on Instagram. Why? I will tell you why. Because French Montana saw a picture of Tichina on an airplane. I guess he screen captured it, and then he posted it on his own Instagram page. And he used the following caption: "I wish Martin could see this right now. He would tear his ass up, laughing my ass off." The whole laughing emojis and what have you. Now, Tichina was not flattered by this at all. So she ripped into this guy. And I wish she made a rap song out of this because this guy, she went in. Pardon me. I'm about to give you what she said to this man. Let's listen in closely, right? And I quote, "Man, oh man, Mr. Montana, I've perused brackets, read through with thoroughness and care." Now, she's assuming that he doesn't know what the word peruse means, okay? So let's take that into consideration. There's a lot of that where that came from in this quote. "I've perused your Instagram profile description, pictures, and posts, but despite my determined effort, I still don't have a clue to one very simple question. Who are you? I mean, other than reading that you've dated a Kardashian and you seem to enjoy taking extraneous pictures with legitimate celebrities, I'm baffled, brackets, perplexed, confused, as to who you are and what you actually do. How do you contribute to society? What do you do to help those in need? What philanthropic works have you done? Are you on the board of any charitable organizations? Do you possess your own charitable organization? Do you own your name? How many of your followers are actually real and not computer generated? Oh, and one other thing. If you're going to post or repost things about other people, such as myself, FYI, maybe you should put more effort into aligning yourself with people who can assist you with building your brand for longevity. Only then will you be prepared, as your boy Martin would so clearly put it, stomp with the big dogs. But either way, I'm pleased to know you are a true fan of The Martin Show despite what criticisms you have. Your continued support is proof that for over 30 years, I have contributed something of value on television to many people, including yourself, and many generations, and hopefully more to come. Hit me up and maybe I can hook you into individuals who have serious inquiries regarding hiring you. I just need to know what exactly it is that you are selling, because unfortunately, I still don't know. Keep your head up and God bless. Tichina." Oh, one more thing. If you know of anyone who has an autoimmune disease such as lupus, go check out my 501c3 organization at weinfoundation.org. Unfortunately, thousands of women and men battle with this constant life-threatening autoimmune disease every day. It would be amazing if you made a donation instead of losing $40K in one-on-one basketball bets with your cohorts. Your positive and monetary support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time. Oh boy, kill him with kindness and kill him with intelligence. I have nothing more to add to that other than the fact that I feel as if she knew exactly who this person was and she was just being facetious just for the hell of it, and I love her for that. So props to her. French Montana had made a retort or made a comeback, but I don't know what it was. I didn't bother to read it. I just wanted to leave it as is. And props to her. You know, as Martin would say, you go, girl. With that being said, we got to throw it back for our Throwback Thursday track of the day. And we got to go back to, actually, no, this is the 2000s, actually. This one came out right at the beginning of the 2000s. And this one comes from my man, Common, with The Light, produced by Jay Dilla, R.I.P. And on that note, we will be right back after these messages. This is Cool Radio.
It's your man, Chris Godrock.
What's up, my family? It's Maliki and Sweet Senorita.
It's your boy, Dirty Girl. This is all mails from the critics. I just finished my interview at C.O.O.L Radio, and I'm just letting you guys know that you guys need to tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. because this place is wild.
Of course! Don't touch that dial.
You miss your diss, you understand? Who you like?
Yes. Welcome back to the show. You're not tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM. It's your man, DM Cool. You're not tuned into Cool Radio. Once again, that was The Light from Common from his 2000 album, Like Water for Chocolate. And that's such a beautiful song, man. That's one of my all-time favorite songs in hip-hop. And just, not just in hip-hop, just in general. That beat just so soulful. So, like, if you're a man and you have a girlfriend, I hope you play that song in front of her like twice a day, man. Just to let her know that she's special, man. That's all I got to say about that. But we got to go from the lovey-dovey stuff to the overly ratchet stuff. And you already know how we do with this particular segment, man. I'm talking about the award-winning segment that we keep playing for you guys because we give y'all, the people, what you want. And this week is no exception. I'm talking about the Wanksta of the Week. So let's drop that real quick. Ooh, now this Wanksta of the Week, this one irks my soul. As not only as a black man, but as a Canadian black man as that. So all my black Canadians out there, all 1 million of us, north of the border, we have been disrespected. We in the north have been disrespected. All right? Wanksta of the Week goes to none other than Whoopi Goldberg. All right? Whoopi Goldberg, I found out about this, I think, last Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and I made it a point to have this woman the Wanksta of the Week. Like, nothing was topping this. Trust me, we had a lot of people, a lot of worthy people who were able to top this, but nah, not her. No one was topping her. And Sherry Shepherd, her co-host on The View, she gets a co-Wanksta of the Week for this one as well for her assist. Anyways, the reason why we're giving her a Wanksta of the Week is because of the fact that she tried to say that black Canadians have no meaning of the word nigger. In other words, we are not affected by this because what nigger means over in America does not have the same meaning in here in Canada, which I found to be absolutely, utterly ridiculous. All right. Now, first of all, let me read you the quote that she said. All right. And I quote, you know, Canadian words. I'm going to say the words, so get ready to beat me. Nigger doesn't mean anything in Canada. Yeah, she said that. Now, Sherry Shepherd gets the co-Wanksta because she said the following. In satirical fashion, of course, but nonetheless, it was very tasteless to say the least. She says, and I quote, what does it mean in Canada? Groceries? Yes, people. Yes, these are coming from two educated black women who host one of the biggest programs in America, all right? Now, let me continue on with her quotes. And she tries to justify her words. Black Canadians and black Americans are two separate groups of people. I kind of agree with that. That's the only thing I agree with. And who do I know and how do I know this? Well, I did a movie last year in Canada, and a young, wonderful Canadian woman wrote it, and I'm reading it, and I'm thinking, we would never say a thing like this, said Goldberg. So I went to the director, and I said, what is this? And he said, oh, she lives here. And I said, so she doesn't know anything? She doesn't get what we're talking about? So we had to make adjustments, and that's just the way it is. I don't mean to say Canadians have been throwing it around. I don't think that when they hear the songs, everyone is playing and every other word is nigger. She said, getting back to Bieber, what I'm saying is that when you are 15 and you're someplace where that's not a word that you have associated with people of color, they weren't calling them that. Whoopi Goldberg, you could not be more further than the truth. You made yourself look like an ignoramus with the statement. No matter what side of the globe you're on, nigger means the same thing, whether you're in Canada, America, France, Italy. Look at the Italian soccer player Mario Balotelli. This man gets called nigger every time he steps into an Italian soccer field. He has people throw bananas at him and everything. So that should show you right there that the word nigger is universal. It has the same connotation, the same meaning everywhere, anywhere that you go in this world. And the thing I hate about some black Americans, and no disrespect to all my American listeners and the black ones in particular as well too, A-Dog, I see you. No disrespect to them, but because they are the largest superpower in the world as a whole, America, they feel as if whatever happens in black culture, they dictate it, which to some extent is true. But at the same time, they feel that whatever trials and tribulations they're going to, as far as race is concerned, they're the only ones going through it. No, you cannot be further from the truth. All black people of all nations go through trials and tribulations as far as race goes. That's just the reality of the situation. And the sooner you realize that, the better off you'll be. And that goes for Whoopi Goldberg as well, too. And with Whoopi, you would think that being a middle-aged black woman who has played some of the most, racially cognitive roles in Hollywood, such as The Color Purple, Karina, all these movies that she was a part of back in the day, you would think that she would have some sense of, ideas that black people all over the world go through racial strife. But no, she wants to say that nigger has absolutely no meaning in this world whatsoever because of one person that she met on the set of a movie who had no idea what it meant. Now, we don't even know whether this alleged woman that she met on the set of a movie was black or not black. We don't know that. It didn't say that in the quote at all. So I have no idea. We don't even know what was said in that script as well, too. We don't know what was in that script either. But nonetheless, just being a black individual who has probably gone through, racial strife during her heyday, and even still to this day, you would think that she would have some sort of empathy towards black Canadians or Canadians of any other, ethnicity in terms of where they currently reside in right now. You would think that, but no. Obviously, ignorance cannot escape age at all. Ignorance does not discriminate in their regard at all. And for that reason alone, I have to give Whoopi Goldberg the Wanksta of the week, and also Sherry Shepherd the co-Wanksta because of her dumbass comment that she made. Do they deserve this Wanksta? Of course! So with that being said, let's drop that. Absolutely unbelievable. And this just goes to show that ignorance knows no bounds. No matter what age you are, what demographic you belong to, ignorance still prevails, man. Ignorance is like a cockroach. You step on one, two are going to pop up, and they'll multiply. It will never die. It will only multiply. Learn from what not to become, and do not be ignorant. That's all I got to say for today, man, or tonight, rather. So, on behalf of the team, I want to thank you for tuning in, as you always do on a weekly basis. Go Spurs. They're playing right now. I hope they win the title. Keep watching the World Cup. I'm supporting my fellow Black Stars. Ghana represent. We're the most difficult group possible, but we're still going to pull it out regardless because we are the Black Stars. We are the Gold Coast. You already know how we do. Hey, Chale. And on that note, follow the show on Twitter at @cool_radio and follow yours truly, DM Cool, at DM_cool. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.